Alright, so for our last two problems on these fill-in-the-blank notes, first we're looking at lines and angles. Here's the map of a downtown. Name two pairs of locations that represent each type of angle. So first of all, to help us out, notice that there's a lot of lines going on here, so I'm going to highlight a few to make it a little easier for us to see. I notice how here these two lines are going to form an interior. They're not parallel to each other, but they look more side by side. They're both going in a more vertical direction. And I notice the two other lines over here, these are more of a horizontal direction. So I'm going to highlight those. Make it easier for us to see interiors and exteriors with all the different lines going on. So it says, what are some examples, or at least two pairs of locations that represent each type of angle? So for A, same side interior angles. So I'm going to pick two lines to focus on. I'm going to focus on the two yellow ones here. So look for the interior and on the same side. So I notice in between these two yellow lines, I focus on their interior. On the same side of the transversal, so that line cutting through, I have the bank and the museum. So I can put bank and museum. Another possibility you can put is on the other side, post office and town hall. Again, also in the interior and on the same side. And town hall. Alright, again, you just have to come up with one example, but any one of those types is going to work. So corresponding angles. So again, multiple ways you can approach this. One of the ways that you can do it is just pick a side or pick some lines to focus on. So if you're still focusing just on the yellow lines that are highlighted here, notice if you start at the bank, you'd skip over the museum and over a line to end up at the library, or the line representing our street. So the bank and the library could be one example we can use as corresponding. Now just another possible example is if we're focusing on the lines that are highlighted in pink, you could also see that here is the high school. You're skipping over a street and this unknown angle right here into the park. And so you can also put the park and high school, just to name a couple. So for our very last problem on these fill-in-the-blank notes, at the very bottom there, it says identify all the numbered angles that are congruent to the given angle. So this is where the highlighting, the zigzag, can help you identify what's congruent. We want to know what is going to be congruent to 148. So zigzag it. First of all, here's the vertical angle 6, so go in that same routine. So we'd have 6, 148, then zigzag to the opposite side, so there's 2, and then 4. Now we only want it to know which ones were congruent to 148. So when you highlight it in the zigzag way, it can make it easier to see which ones those will be. So we can say angle 2, 4, and angle 6 are all going to be congruent to, are equal to 148 degrees. Okay, so at this time, get ready to have your books out. Just in section 11.2, we're going to do a couple more examples and then call it a day.